Good evening and welcome to Voices of a Vic. I don't know why I'm saying good evening, just evening. Always nothing good about this weekend at all. After yesterday's dire performance, but unfortunately we have to talk about what happened in those 90 minutes yesterday at Kenworth Road, where Watford lost 3-0 on our Derby Day visit to Luton Town. Tonight I'm joined by Caity and Joe, and we're just going to use this as a therapy session. Hope you all get something out of it this evening as well. I know Katie's been looking forward to it just to try and offload, and so's Joe. Both of them have promised that they're not going to hold back tonight. So it'll be interesting to hear everyone's thoughts. But like I said, I'm joined by Caity and Joe. We all saw each other a week or so ago now. Must say congratulations to Mike and Beck on their wedding day. Mike from the Voice of the Vic, as you all know, got married last Friday in Nottingham, and it was a lovely day, great ceremony, great party. Joe's got a terrible video of me dancing on the dance floor. He absolutely stitched me right up there. Or I stitched myself up, to be fair, but he was very good on the camera straight away. But yeah, lovely day, and now we're being brought back down to earth. So yeah, congratulations to Mike and Beck on your wedding day. But yeah, we are here to talk about that Derby Day defeat. Caity, how are you first, and are you looking forward to this one?
Honestly, it's been an awful weekend. I was even saying that I've had a bad week. I don't feel great all week. And then I was really looking forward to football being back. And, Watford, of course, they're not going to turn up when you need them to. It was genuinely awful, felt awful. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to just offloading everything and just getting out all our frustrations. But yeah.
Joe, how are you, mate? You looking forward to this one?
Yeah, do you know what? I think things need to be said. Like I do think to a point. Like there's only, I know we're not critical. Or I don't think we're overly critical anyway. But I think things need to be said about a few players tonight because it just wasn't good enough yesterday. And I know in the last, I don't know if it's about 45 minutes, 60 minutes, Sissoko's come out on Instagram, hasn't he? And he's put an apology up, and being the captain, fair play. He's come out, he said something, but yeah, it still doesn't kind of wipe away what happened yesterday.
No, and like Joe's just mentioned as well, Sissoko has came out in the last few minutes with a statement, I'd say. I'm just trying to find it now. Bear with me, technical issues today. So Moussa Sissoko put up on Instagram a sorry message, basically. He said, "No excuse about our bad performance yesterday. We can just blame ourselves and feel the pain. I don't think an apology will be enough to our fans, but I still do it because you deserve it. Another important game is coming soon, so we will do our best to bounce back in the nice way. Thanks again for amazing support yesterday, Hornet family." Caity, what did you make of Sissoko's comments? Obviously, he's the first Watford player to actually say anything regarding the defeat yesterday. I think Imran Luzda posted something on Instagram yesterday, and he wasn't in the matchday squad, so he didn't really need to come out and do anything. But it was nice that he did. But what have you made of this little comment from Moussa Sissoko?
Yeah, I mean, he's the captain. He's probably been told that he probably has to come out and say something. Obviously, the club haven't posted or tweeted since yesterday. To me, it's all words. I mean, it was like it when he was here before and he did that letter that was like the Norwich game and he was like, yeah, come down, show your support. To me, he's not the type of player that I would necessarily want to be hearing from. Yeah, he's the captain, but it doesn't. You can apologize. You can say stuff on Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's about what you see on the pitch. And like he said, it's all about putting it right. You can apologize all you want, but at the end of the day, you still performed the way that you did. So, to me, It doesn't. This isn't making me think, oh yeah, they really feel bad about yesterday. It's just sort of what he kind of has to do in his role.
No, definitely. if anything, it's the only thing he's done this weekend because he was non-existent yesterday. But we'll dive into these players in a minute, and we're going to try to do something a little bit different this evening as well. We're actually going to rate all the players' performances out of 10. Believe me, they're not going to be scoring very high, but we're going to do it because we want to talk about everyone's performance yesterday. So that's why we're going to rate them out of 10 whilst we're doing that. Joe, team news yesterday. Daniel Batman came back into the starting 11. So I'll go through the starting 11 and then we'll talk about Daniel Batman and the selection and the reoccurrence of an injury which happened. So Daniel Batman was in goal. It was Ryan Andrews, Matty Pollitt, Ryan Porteous, Ogbonna, Ken Sema, Tom Deli Bashiru, Musa Sissoko, Chepwadesi, Edo Kiambo. Kiambo? He might as well be Kiambo yesterday. Kiambi and Akumbayo. We could have played with 10 men with Akumbayo yesterday. Fuck me. But Joe, yesterday, Jeff Doyle actually tweeted after the game saying that Tom Cleverley had this to say about Daniel Batman. His thigh issue popped in its head up again. Dan's been absolutely flying, and then yesterday he tweaked the injury a little bit again. It was a tough decision. He's our number one, and that's what I went for. What did you make of that starting 11? What did you make of Tom Cleverley picking Daniel Batman? What did you think of Tom Cleverley picking Daniel Batman off the back of an injury that reoccurred yesterday? And thoughts on Jonathan Bond, obviously, like, how must he be feeling?
Well, first of all, based on what was said by Tom is just ridiculous. I can't believe that a player with an injury, I don't really care how slight it was, what was going through his head to play him yesterday when Jonathan Bond has come in and done an adequate job for Watford. I don't see, we said this before the break with like Ryan Andrews was injured, obviously Serialta. We said it's good we've got the international break, even if they're not ready, just give them the time that they need to get fully fit and get back to where they need to be before they come back into the side. So I find it utterly astounding that if a player cannot do his job at maximum capacity, which is what you need for a game like yesterday, you go in and put him in the starting 11. That clears that one up. Bond, if I was Bond, I'd be fucked off to the high. I don't ever swear on this podcast, sorry people, but I would be fucked off to the high heavens with that decision yesterday to leave. If I was Bond, to leave me sitting on the bench, knowing that Batman was carrying an injury. If it was that bad and he was playing throughout the game and he was struggling, why did you not just sacrifice a sub and bring on Bond? I don't really care if you're losing a sub. We needed a keeper yesterday that was fully fit. So if after 26, 30 minutes or whatever he was feeling aggravated and it just wasn't working for him, bring him off. As for the rest of the team, we kind of know now, I think, with Cleverley that Kayembe is his golden boy, and he sees Kayembe as a route in that number 10 role to, I don't know, I don't really know to do what, if I'm being completely honest, because yesterday again he didn't do anything in that role. I just don't see the point of him playing in that position. I would have. I mean, I know Cam said I think he would have gone with Tom Ince yesterday in that position for his starting 11 leading into the game. I'm probably inclined to agree with him. We probably needed someone with a bit of experience to play with Chad Fakatsi, because obviously I don't think Chat wasn't with us, was he? And playing in that last, was he with us? He wasn't when we last went there, was he? I'm trying to think how long ago it was when we played.
No.
So
2 years ago.
So yeah, having someone with an experienced head there probably would have been wise. And as for Bio, I mean, obviously we've seen the Watford Way have posted that stat about Bio completing one pass in the time that he was on the pitch yesterday. I'll say it again. I mean, I stuck up for him last season because I quite liked his press and I liked what he brought to the team and how he kind of put on defenders and keepers when we were trying to attack. This season, I don't see any of it, and I don't see the point of him. I genuinely don't see the point of him. and the sooner he's given a run on the bench and Jefferson's given an actual run in this team, because, you know, fans are entitled to their opinion, but I'm getting really fucked off that fans are giving Jefferson so much stick when the guy's not given an actual solid run in the team. The guy needs to play probably 5 consecutive games in the team before you can say he's not doing his job properly. Him coming on in games like Sheffield United, where we didn't have any flow in that team, he wasn't going to change that game. It was if we could get something in the game and try and scrape a result. Yesterday was the same. We weren't doing anything. You bring in a player on, you can't expect the young lad to do everything. You can't expect him to completely change the game. That's not, unfortunately, how the world works. You need a team behind him to at least be doing something in the game, to be creating chances, and we weren't creating chances. So I don't expect what Watford fans were looking at to just sit and say Jefferson shit and, oh, we need Rajovic back. That's not the kind of support that he needs at the moment. We need to be kind of saying, like, look, Bio isn't doing it, so fuck him off out of it. I don't care where he goes. If he gets on a plane and goes to Italy and doesn't come back, good riddance. Cheers, Vagun Bio. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that yesterday.
No, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Hope you feel better after that, Joe. Thank you everyone for watching tonight as well. We've got lots of people watching, lots of comments as well in here as well. So really do appreciate it. Caity, coming to you for Watford Way. James has said, what about Dan's comments pre-match about the pitch that annoyed him? What did you make of those comments? So basically, there was walking out of the tunnel pre-match like they normally do. They come out, they assess the pitch, they walk around to get be familiarised with their surroundings. But Daniel Batman was heard in the background saying, "There's no way that we can play on that." It's not the right mentality, really, is it, from a professional footballer? Like, that's negativity straight away.
Yeah, and James had tweeted that it's like already from that comment, he's not up for it. If you're making those types of comments, I understand that the pitch was in bad conditions yesterday. Of course it was. But he, as the goalkeeper, saying that as you're walking on the pitch, you're already expecting it to be called off or postponed or something. I mean, it's not good. It really does not look good for him with everything going on with the injury thing. This video, I really like. I do not want to see him play in the next couple games because, like Joe said, if you're Bond, you would be so pissed off because I feel like Bond's not done anything to be dropped or to have a time on the bench. Backman coming straight in. I understand everyone wants to play. It's a big game. Everyone probably wants to have their go, and you know what Backman's like, and he thinks he's a huge leader at the club and wants to lead everyone to glory. I'm sure that he probably turned around and went, yeah, I have got a bit of an injury, but I want to play. And Cleverly's probably gone, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, like, it's fine. It's not fine. If you're not a full percent, I would have rather have had Bond play. No one should have been risked for that game. You should have played every single person who is 100% ready, 100% committed, not people who are half-assed expecting the game to get postponed an hour before kickoff. I understand that you obviously see the pitch being in a bad condition. It is worrying. You might think, oh, I don't know if I can play on this. And if he has got an injury, he's probably thinking, oh, God, what if I slip? What if I do this? What if I do that? You should say, or make a change before you go on. Say, look, I can't play on this. I don't think I can. And we would have respected him more if he had done that than to go out and play how he did. He couldn't even kick in the warm-up. He couldn't even warm up properly because he was injured. And then I'm not going to sit here and blame him for all the goals, but every single goal, he literally just stands still for all of them. He doesn't even react. He doesn't even move. It's really, really poor for him. And I want a statement from him. I want him to apologise. I want him to come out and say, I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry that I took that risk when it wasn't needed. And I'm leaving the club. Bye. Just get out.
Like you all know, I don't mind Daniel Batman. I think his shot stopping ability is pretty decent. But this is 100% on Tom Cleverley. He should be no way picking a goalkeeper who's been out injured, had a reoccurrence on an injury, and still selected him. We had this discussion on our last podcast going, do we bring back Daniel Batman or do we keep Jonathan Bond? And even I said I would feel hard done by if I was Jonathan Bond and he has to carry on playing because I want my goalkeeper to have competition, and I also want him to earn his spot back and not come straight back into the team. It looks like that Tom's just has got his clear favourites with Daniel Batman. Obviously, Edo Kiembe, he finds that he must start games, but he doesn't really offer much apart from his ball striking in front of goal. But he's not in the right areas to get that 9 out of 10 times anyway. I just think this is 100% on Tom Cleverley, and he's got to look at himself in the mirror, and he's got some big decisions to make over the next couple of days for this Leeds game on Tuesday, because the team selection was just awful. And Joe, where did it all go wrong yesterday? Was it too much talking in the lead up? Because we heard that the players know, they know how much this means to the fans. Was there too much talking behind the scenes? Well, not behind the scenes, in public view, wasn't there, for everyone to see?
Yeah.
And was this maybe motivation for Luton as well? Obviously, that tweet was put out an hour and a half before kickoff of the sites. So don't get me wrong, I thought that was fantastic, and I absolutely loved that. But when you're putting things out like that, you're leaving yourself up for criticism if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, and then you just look ridiculous. It looks silly, and the amount of people on the back of that, like I think Luton's ended up probably having more likes on their tweet than what Watford did on their tweet. Like, you've got to be careful in this industry, don't you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure we put something out before the game when we played them at Kenilworth Road last time, and we got burnt then as well. And they put something out and they completely just took the piss out of us. And yesterday was exactly the same thing. I kind of made a comment, I think it was in our group chat, saying when Tom had come out and said that the players knew exactly what the game meant to the club and the fans and everyone connected with the club, that it just felt like he was probably like a teacher that was going into a new classroom with some maybe foreign students that didn't fucking have a clue what he was talking about, and just agreed with him for the sake of agreeing, and just went, yeah, all right, Gaffer, we know what's required, and that's it. And they really didn't have a clue whatsoever, because nothing was portrayed on the pitch yesterday with giving 110% from start to finish yesterday. So yeah, I don't know where the effort was yesterday. I don't know where the desire was. I don't know where the enthusiasm or hunger or want to win was. But yeah, when we play Luton next time at Vicarage Road, I pray to God that the club do not post a thing. Just don't say anything, because if we lose, it's not going to look bad on us. And I just hope that when we do play at Vicarage Road, when there is a full house, hopefully at Vicarage Road, then that they actually decide that they want to turn up, because if it's anything like yesterday, it's going to just drive fans away.
In every game I go to, I just want my team to compete, and you expect that as a bare minimum. But for a derby game, it was just non-existent. They looked like they couldn't be bothered, and I know it's easy for fans to say they can't be bothered, and I imagine they are bothered by the results, but they didn't look it. Like, Musa Sissoko's the captain of this team. He's meant to be a leader. He's meant to lead by example. He's meant to cheer up his teammates, motivate them. I didn't see that yesterday. And then I was looking around at the team and I was like, your body language is poor. Like, even Ryan Andrews, who's a Watford-born guy, I thought he would be well up for it, but he looked just in himself. He didn't really look. Well, it came across to me that he didn't look interested or wanting to show a bit of passion. And this body language, Caity, it's not great. And I imagine Luton probably looked at Watford in the tunnel and thought, they're not up for this. We've got these.
Yeah, I think it is about the body language. And I said in our group chat earlier as well, I was like, I spoke to Porteous weeks ago. We spoke to Matty Pollock. We've been speaking to players almost every single week, and at least someone in those fan chats has asked about the Luton game, and every single person has said, we know how important it is. Porteous had all his mates down, and for me, that was giving, that it's a big game. And I understand that people know what derbies are. They know it's an important game. And I did not see from any single person, not Porteous, not Matty Pollock, not Ryan Andrews, no one, that was an important game to them. Like you said, you would think Ryan Andrews, young Watford boy, like he would go out there. I don't even care if there's red cards, yellow cards, flying about. That's what you want. You want there to be hunger. You want there to be desire. There was nothing. There was not even a little bit of a back chat or a little bit of a comment here and there. There was nothing. We were
Until the Luton third goal, was it?
yeah,
Absolutely
and then they
nothing
wanted to
it.
suddenly fight. And it's like, well, where was this 70 minutes ago? Where was this at the start of the game? I understand you're going to post off on socials. It always happens with everything. And I'm sure when we play them at home, they will probably post everything because it is a derby game. They're going to hype it up. And I understand Luton had that home advantage. I do get that. But there is no excuse for coming out there and giving literally barely 10%. No player gave more than 10%. Okay, yeah, when Bar came on, he was running around a little bit. I still would not praise anyone for that. And it isn't necessarily just all on the players, but even without Tom Cleverley and the hyping it up, you would think, even as players just playing in a normal game, you would hope every player goes out with a desire to win, to be hungry. Luton have been awful all season. They have not won, I don't know their stats, but they've not won any games. Rob Edwards was going to get sacked before the international break. And look, we've just kick-started their season. I guarantee it, we have kick-started their season right now because now they're going to be like, we're so good. And they are not good. I've watched a lot of Luton games this season so far, and they are awful. They've bottled Leeds, everything. And we just were like, here you go. On a silver platter, we were like, here you go. We don't even care. Like, we do not care. And we look like idiots.
I think the main difference yesterday was the front two of Luton. I thought they was excellent, and especially Colton Morris as well. And I know I said this in our group chat yesterday or today, but I'll mention it for everyone now. Like Colton Morris, he's like the Luton Troy Deeney, isn't he? He's someone who can leave the line, he can rattle defenders, he can score a goal, and I thought he was fantastic yesterday, and we could not handle him, and that's what Watford have been missing for years since Troy Deeney's left this football club. A bit of a shithouse up top that can hold the ball, who can link up play and can score goals. We've not had that since Troy's gone. We've tried to fill the gap. We've had strikers come in and go. Raymond I, for example, but it's not worked. But I must say it's credit where credit's due. We were beaten by the better team yesterday, so fair play to Luton Town. But I'm just hoping for his reverse fixture that we actually give them a bit of payback, because the fans deserve a performance and a reaction out of this. Sorry, Joe, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, just thinking back on the previous game, that's 2 games we've had at Kenilworth Road since obviously they've come back into the Championship fold, and that's 2 shots on target over 180 minutes. I think both from, I can't remember if it was Tom Delibashira in the first game we played, but to only have 2 shots on target in a derby game over 2 games away is just absolutely abysmal. And just as Caity mentioned about Rob Edwards, if I was in that Watford squad yesterday going into that, and knowing that Rob Edwards was the manager, I would have been so up for yesterday, thinking, you know what, they are absolute dog shit. If we can get a result here, this is the final nail in his coffin. Those fans would have completely turned on him yesterday, and it would have been in front of a full house crowd at Kenilworth Road. The owners were there. Everyone associated with Luton was there. They would have heard it. They'd have been like, we've got to make a decision here now, because this is just getting worse and worse. He would have been gone yesterday. If that's not motivation for your rivals to go there and do so, I genuinely don't know what is. I'd have been completely up for that yesterday and just been going, come on lads, we can put the final nail in his coffin. And they completely 100% bottled it.
Yeah.
I agree. Bunch of bottle jobs. Melanie says, trying to find excuses, but I think that Batman thing meant they had to change, late changes in how we played. No long kicks, just rollouts from a goalie as he couldn't kick. You know what? I thought with Daniel Batman yesterday, with his kicking, obviously he was attempting to throw it out long quite a bit because he didn't trust his kicking. But whenever he did have a ball at his feet, he just looked just just nervous, didn't he? He looked and it wasn't giving the defenders much confidence in what they've got behind him. And I thought that just maybe it just didn't help matters, did it, yesterday? Jess says that Ollie from the We Are Luton Town podcast described Pollock as a League Two defender. To be fair, I think Morris and Adebayo made us look like League Two opposition yesterday. I know players are going to have off days, but you don't expect them to have off days in local derbies, do you? And especially like what Caity said with Pollock and Porteous both saying the right things in the lead up to these games. It was just they've said one thing and done totally the opposite. But where does this? Where do we go from here? Like what happens next, Joe?
Well, I posted something of what I thought or what I wanted our team to be on Tuesday night. I think Cleverley needs to. I know he's come out and he's taken responsibility for yesterday. He said, like, look, it's on me. Fair play to him. He's come out early. He had to really come out and say something, didn't he, early? But he needs to. He needs to make some drastic changes in that team on Tuesday and give some other people a chance, because I think his love for certain people needs to change and fast. Like, if it was me, I wouldn't have Kayembe. I wouldn't have. Do you know what? I can't. I don't want to be too critical on Tom Delibashiru, but I wouldn't have Tom Delibashiru in the team on Tuesday. I wouldn't certainly have Bio in the team. I wouldn't have Porteous in the team. I'd drop Andrews. I can genuinely see there being maybe 7 or 8 changes on Tuesday night, and it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't say it's unjustified, and I think that it needs to happen so that people get a rude awakening, that they can't just think that they can just turn up on a Saturday and they're going to be in the starting 11, because we've got a squad, we've got other players that are there waiting. We've been hearing, and I've said this a lot over the last few days. He's saying that we've got young players that are good, that he wants to protect and doesn't want to bring in this team. Well, now for me is the time to show that what these players can do. They're there for a reason. You can't keep saying, "Oh, we need to protect them. We need to sort of bring them in as and when, I feel the time's right. The time's right now." We're giving people long contracts like Barr. If you're giving him that tells me that you think he's ready to be at this club every game and play week in, week out. You can't just keep bringing him on with 30 minutes to go in games. He's good enough. Yeah. We've seen what he can do. We've seen what he can do when he comes on in game. Preston, he was just unlucky. He started, he didn't get the rub of the green. At least he had a shot on target. I mean, I know it was straight at the keeper, but Bio's not even having shots on goal. Bio's not even doing anything. So
he's not even making the pass.
Exactly. And
he's struggling to bag up shopping in Tesco's.
Exactly. Like, I've seen people giving Vatter a bit of criticism because he came on yesterday and didn't do very well. Mike being one, fair enough, he didn't do very well, but at the same time, again, what do you expect the young lad to do? Like, there's a lot of pressure on him. You can't just expect these players to come on and just magic things to happen when the rest of the team aren't performing. If we were doing well yesterday, I can well believe that these players probably would have come on and it would have been a different story. But that's just not how football works. If you're playing badly, the people that are going to come on aren't going to just suddenly make things better and just, we might have slightly got better as the game went on. And we did at times, I thought, but we just didn't have that cutting edge in the end yesterday. And like you said earlier, the better team won. But yeah, I would, if I was Tom, I would be playing Barr more. I'd be playing Vatter more. Duamo, I can never pronounce his name, sorry. But I would give him a run in the team now. Get Ebasele back in the team, because Ryan Andrews, I think he just needs to have a bit of time out. And as for left back, would we bring Larouci back in? I quite like Ken there, even though he was absolutely woeful yesterday. I just think, we just need a complete change on Tuesday night. And I'm not being funny. I watched Leeds on Friday, and it was one of them games where it was really topsy turvy, and it could have gone either way once a team scored, and it went their way after. But I did actually think after that if we played how we've been playing at home there, it would actually suit us because they looked shaky at times at the back. But after watching us on Saturday, I firmly believe Leeds could potentially hammer us, and it could be another 2-3, 4-0 defeat away from home, which would just be utter shite after what we watched on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it. If I'm totally honest. But it's not just personnel, Caity, that needs changing in this team. It's the tactics, isn't it? And it's like the set pieces as well. Conceding 2 goals from set pieces at Luton. The marking was poor. There was no marking, especially for that second one where Carlton Morris had the freedom of Kenilworth Road to head that in at the far post. But this is what, like, I know Tom's a new manager. He's not had a full season yet, but he's making a lot of mistakes at the moment. And I know you got to make mistakes to learn from them, but I don't think he's learning quick enough with these mistakes.
No.
Like he should have seen that we were struggling from set pieces in that first half, but he hadn't made any changes to it. And then second half, 2 minutes into that second half, we conceded a game from a set piece. The tactics from Tom Cleverley that he's showing in, especially his away games, is costing us, isn't it?
Yeah. And you can argue that everything he's doing is costing us. And we have said this for weeks. The team selection that he is putting out is costing us. He is starting with a weaker side and then throwing on Bar, Jebison, Vata with 20 minutes to go, hoping they'll clear up the mess from the other donkeys that played for the first 60 minutes. It's not obviously I understand why Cleverley is making the selection that he is, but you have to look at that team and I cannot understand what makes him think, yes, Bayer should be starting this game. After yesterday, he shouldn't even be dropped to the bench. He should be training with the under-21s with the academy. And there's a few others that I could probably say shouldn't even be on the bench on Tuesday. They should be just out of the squad. If you feel like it is okay to play like that in such an important game, you do not even deserve to be put on the bench. And you know what? I feel like Cleverley won't even drop any of them. I think he will just go with what, and he'll be like, well, they wanted to make a statement. They wanted to prove everybody wrong. But like you said, he is not learning quick enough. And obviously, I'm not going to think that Tom Cleverley is looking on Twitter and reading everyone's tweets, hoping for some advice. He's obviously not doing that. But every single game is costing us because we're conceding from set pieces. So why are you not working on that? We're conceding early because we've got the wrong team playing from the get-go. Every time that team comes out, when it's, Kayembe, Sissoko, Tomdeli Bashiru, Bayer, like no one is focused, no one is switched on. I don't want to sit here and be like Tom Cleverley's not the choice because it's not it at all. I think he is, and he's young, he's going to make mistakes. And obviously the aims for this season were not, I don't think we're going to go up. Obviously Tom thinks we're going to compete in the top 6, but if you're saying that and then you're putting performances like that regularly, if we had showed up yesterday and we had genuinely showed some real fight, but Luton were just a better side, I'd be sitting here going, you know what, at least we tried, at least we put up a fight. But the thing is that we didn't even fight for it. We didn't even try a little bit. And I think Tom Cleverley has to seriously look at the squad and look at the choices that he's making tactically as well and going, right, what do I need to change? Because there is a lot that needs to change if he thinks we're going to get close to top 6, top 10, whatever he thinks.
Yeah, got lots of comments coming in as well. So thank you guys for putting in the comments. And Philip Crouch says, Tomdeli Bashiru is not the problem. It's Sissoko who should be dropped. Again, yesterday he had a lot of bandages on his left leg, which tells me he has an injury and isn't running like he can. And this is it. The squad depth at the moment is so poor and weak that we haven't got anyone to come in to take these injured players out or underperforming midfielders out. Sissoko's not been doing it for 4 or 5 games now. He looks tired. Tom Delly's running on one leg, but he tried to put in a performance yesterday. It's just Luton was sniffing him out at every opportunity, and he was turning around and had 3-4 people on him at times, and it was difficult for him to actually get anything out of the game. James from Watford Way says zonal or man marking. Which do you guys prefer? Personally, for me, man marking. I hate zonal. I really do with a passion. I hate the idea of you defend this area. If it comes in here, you head it clear. Not picking up men. Like yesterday, for example, Colton Morris back post free, no one on him, no one on the back post. Like it's just awful. Like man marking. What I would have done with yesterday was stick Matty Pollock with Colton Morris, someone who's your best header in the team, up against someone who's the best header for Luton Town. That goal would have been avoided, and I just don't. This is what I mean. Tom's not learning quick enough,
and that's
for me.
fairly obvious.
Yeah,
and that's an obvious thing. Like, he should be doing that. You said that. I mean, that's the most obvious thing that should have happened yesterday, and he didn't do it. So.
Yeah.
Sorry to stop you in the trap, but you were spot on there.
No, cheers. And this isn't me saying I want Tom Cleverley out. Like, I love Tom Cleverley. All of us love Tom Cleverley. I just want him to kind of learn a little bit quicker than what he's doing, because at home he seems to have found something that's working, but away from home we should not be losing the amount of games away from home that we are, or if we are, not competing in them, and that's what's hurting Watford at the moment. And this is what Elliot's came up and said here. First time I've seen Elliot's comment on our video. So welcome, Elliot. Hope you're well. He says, I understand the frustration, but Tom has won half his games this season. Clef's clearly brought in Robbo in to help with our defensive fertilities. Keep the faith, guys. And that's a great point as well, isn't it, Joe, that Paul Robinson's been brought back into Watford. He's part of the coaching team now. That's only going to benefit Watford.
Yeah, it is. And well, yeah, it is. I agree. I mean, we're all happy to see the appointment last week. There was a lot of positive comments and happy fans last week. And as I said, if there's anybody that can get into the players' heads and say how important yesterday was, it was Robbo. But clearly, his words didn't have the desired effect either. If I remember rightly, Robbo scored on his debut for Watford. His debut was against Luton Town. So, you know, he knows what it's like to score in a derby. He knows what it's like to play in a derby. And yeah, it's just a shame that didn't come across. But yeah, I mean, it's only a positive thing, I think, for us that he's come back. And I've loved Robbo since the moment he put on a Watford shirt. And, you know, it's little things like this that, you know, it will help the fans, keep the fans on side. And like Elliot's just said, you know, I will keep the faith. It is hard to take what happened yesterday, but at the same time, you know, the players need to be told a few home truths, and I hope that they've been pulled in this morning. I hope that Tom has grilled them all to the high heaven, and they understand just how much they've let us down and how upset we are after watching that yesterday. And like Caity said, you know, I as much as I want changes and things, I can see Tom for that reason keeping a lot of the players in on Tuesday for the exact same reason that she said, that he's going to come out and say, well, the players wanted to show what they could do and put a point across that they could get a result in a game and just try and bounce back as quick as possible. But while I agree that a team probably does need to do that, I think, like I said before, I think people need they need dropping and they need a bit of a break from playing. But yeah, just on Robbo, very happy and really happy with him coming back to the club.
No, definitely, I echo that. And Caity, like dropping players, it's obviously going to hurt the players who have been dropped, but it also gives that opportunity to players who think they can do a better job as well. So it's going to create competition again. Is this what we kind of need now? It's take people out the firing line, give other people opportunities, and hope that they they show a bit of passion and willingness for this shirt, and we can hopefully move forward.
100%. I mean, we've said before on other podcasts this season how if you are Jefferson and you have come to Watford and Bio is starting ahead of you, you are going to be fuming. There is no way that guy is sat on the bench. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on the bench and watch this guy not even string a pass together. The message that keeping, if you play badly, you should be dropped. Obviously, and the thing is Bar had that bad game at Preston, and then he's not started since. So why is it fair that Bayer is allowed to have a bad game every single week and he still starts the next game? The message that it's sending is the wrong thing. I understand that there's going to be competition. There's going to be people who are going to have to stay in because of rotation issues, or, like Sissoko is not really going to get dropped unless it's a rotation thing. But when you have Jefferson, who I genuinely feel he just needs a long run of games. He needs 5 games back to back where we can really see what he has to do, because every time he's played, it's either been when we're trailing or when we're losing or when the game's flat and he just comes on at the end. It's not fair for him. He needs to have the full 90. Cleverly raved about how fit he was when he joined. It took him a long time to even get into the squad. Then he was only coming on for the last 10 minutes. Then he started one game. Did he start
Norwich?
one game? Yeah. Everyone was like getting down his back saying that he was just as bad as Bayer. And I was like, but that's one game. And I just feel like it is so unfair for the other players who are sitting, waiting patiently, Vata, Bar. We've seen how good they are. We've seen what they can do. And they need to have that time to play. It's all good now sitting here going, we know who isn't good. So you've got the choices on the bench. I look at the starting 11 when it's posted and I see who's actually playing. I look at the bench, I think I'd rather start the bench team than that starting 11 because it's better. I understand you want to have impact subs, you want to have people on the bench who can come on and make an impact. But it's always when it's too late, and then you're putting them with the impossible task of coming on to try and get back from being 2-0 down, and then you're putting them on at 60, 70 minutes. It's not long enough. You need to start them from the beginning, and I really want to see Jefferson get a start. I really want to see Bar get a start because we have some really, really good players, and it is not fair to keep playing people who clearly struggle or clearly are not good enough for this league whilst they just have to sit there and watch.
No, I agree with everything you've just said. So does James from Watford Way says, agree with Caity. Give Jebbo a month of starts and see what he can do. We was talking about this in the group chat yesterday, and I said that I thought Jefferson did much better than Bio. I thought he was attempting to hold the ball off. He laid it off a couple of times, made a few passes. And that was a step forward for me from him. He tried the back heel flick as well, didn't he, in the 6-yard box? But I think the defender got a bit of a block on it, so it didn't go goalwards. But I thought he had a bit of a presence, and he gave it a go yesterday. Pidge says both are shite, but Jefferson needs a run of starts to give a proper assessment. And this is it. Watford fans have only seen bits and pieces of Jefferson, and they've been quick to judge him and rule him out and say he's not good enough, send him back to Bournemouth. But we just need to give him the opportunity now. He's got to get a run of games, get fit, and I'm sure he will look much better than what Bio will. If not, I'm putting Joe up top because he will definitely be better than Bio. Matt says we need. Sorry.
I was just sorry to cut across you, Ben. It's just worth pointing out as well that just before this signing, Jesse Marsh was on. He was doing an interview before he signed, and he'd said that he'd had a chat with Jefferson about this move, and that they'd both felt that because he obviously wants to get back into the Canadian fold and back into the national squad, and he was saying that he was in a good place, that he'd seen him when he's been on international duty, and that he was proving himself, and that he was looking sharp and wanting a good run of games, and felt that Watford was the right move to get him where he needed to be to get back into the fold. And unfortunately for him, I mean, I don't know unfortunately, as to what the conversations that have been had since, but that's just not materialised, and for whatever reason, he's just not got anywhere near our starting 11. And I think it's probably frustrating for Jesse because he's obviously thought, oh yeah, this is going to work out, and it's probably frustrating for Jefferson as well because he's just left sitting on a bench watching a geezer he may as well have one leg.
Yeah. Something that I really want to see that Pidge has just said as well. Bar and Chapadassi behind Jefferson. I would absolutely love that. At least you've got the creativity of Chapadassi. You've got the directness in Bar, and then if you can try and slip the balls through to Jefferson, then I think you could be onto something there. So that's something I would like to see, and plus that would get Kiembe out of the team. Mark Schofield says Jefferson is too weak for a championship in his opinion. That said, Bayer has been so poor that we have nothing to lose if Jefferson starts. Lee says Bayer and Jefferson have a touch of a trampoline. It did bounce around a little bit yesterday, didn't it? Especially off Bio. And I still can't believe that stat, but he had one pass for the whole game. And that one
That's
pass
crazy.
was from kickoff, which is just
kickoff.
Absolutely...
It was the kick. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
So, yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like I said earlier, we are going to rate our players out of 10. We'll go through all of them. All three of us will give our ratings, and then if it's pretty similar, we'll decide on it as a Voices of Vic one. Let us know in the comments as well. We'll go through them one by one. So I want you all to get involved. So let's start with no other than Daniel Batman. Katie, out of 10.
0.
And when we do this, we'll give like a quick one or two sentence on the performance as well, just so we're not just shouting numbers out. Daniel Batman for you yesterday, Katie.
Yeah, 0. You saying that comment for kickoff, playing when you know you have an injury is unexcusable. You deserve nothing. 0.
Well, don't hold back. Wow. Joe?
Yeah, if I could give a -1, I'd probably give a -1. I'm genuinely being serious. Like Katie said, to come out and make that comment before, like I'd have been coming out there and going, look at these conditions. So it could work in our favour today. Slide around a little bit. You know, we could put some tough tackles in, get into them, get stuck into them. Not go, I don't think we can play on this. The guy's a buffoon. And I know you love him, but nah. I hope I don't see him in a Watford shirt until after Christmas.
You know, that love has faded yesterday quite a lot. But equally, he didn't pick the starting 11. So this blames a lot of it is on Tom Cleverley's shoulders. But seeing his comments pre-match at the pitch, his mentality weren't really there, in my opinion. I'll give him a 0. I'm quite happy to give him a 0. I do think that there's been a lot of stick thrown at Daniel Batman with all 3 goals yesterday. I think the only one that he probably couldn't do anything with would have been the first goal because of the way was it Clark was standing in front of him, and I don't think he could have reacted quicker enough for that. But for the second 2 goals, I think he should have done much better. The second goal, he was wrestling with Clark, who was in front of him, and again set pieces. Why don't you not stick a defender in between Daniel Batman and Clark, so then Batman can concentrate on when the cross is coming in? There was nothing. It was just Clark and Batman, and it was poor. This is what we were on about, that Tom needs to learn from his set pieces. So yeah, Daniel Batman's got a fat 0 for yesterday's performance. We'll now go to Ryan Andrews, Katie.
Yeah, you can have 0 as well because he didn't do anything. And I just cannot get over watching his body language throughout that game. He was giving very cocky, like I'm better than you, kicking the ground a lot. No fight, no desire. You get 0.
Wow. Joe, what about you on Ryan Andrews?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've stuck up for that guy a lot of times on this podcast in games.
We all have.
Where there's games where we've been battered, and I felt really sorry for him being stuck out on that right hand side. But yesterday, I mean, I'm giving him a 0 as well. It was his worst Watford game ever since he's put on the shirt. It was his worst game, and I hope to God that he goes to bed over the next couple of days and thinks about where he goes from here, because I want to see fight from him when he puts on the shirt again next.
Wow, you're both sounding like Jess tonight. All the players to get 0 from me, and so does Claire's. So it's going to be easy. It looks very easy for Joe and Caity. You know what? I'm going to give Ryan Andrews a 1 out of 10 yesterday. You know what? I really liked his run forward that he had on the right hand side. He just let it down with that cross, because this is it. He can carry a ball. He's got pace. And then it was just a fucking cross was awful. So
Ben's clutching at straws here.
Look, someone's got to be the positive one, okay? Joe's tried to do minus points already. So, yeah, 1 out of 10 for Ryan Andrews for me. Right, Matty Pollock, Caity.
Maybe like a 4. I think there was...
You had a bang to the head. 0 to the 4.
No, there was definitely more effort and fight from him. I think there was some good defending moments. You know, there was a couple big kicks in there from him, which, you know, were okay. But, yeah, still not great. But he can have a 4.
Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I think 4's fair. I think he, you know, when we did concede, he was trying to, he did turn around and did make some comments. I don't know what he obviously said to the players, but he clearly, you know, it pissed him off and it meant something. So, you know, he did show a bit of fight yesterday at times, and you know, I do actually, I still love Matty Pollock. I wouldn't say his standard. I saw someone said from Luton it was a League Two. I think that's a bit harsh. I think it just didn't go right for him yesterday. But yeah, I would give him a 4.
Jess says, is Pollock's Katie's new crush or something, with a 4, but maybe it might be Joe's crush as well, Caity. For James from Watford Way says, to be fair, Matty had a good couple of blocks and recoveries, so he's actually giving him a 3 out of 10. I'm going to probably give him a 3 as well. I don't think he did too much yesterday. I just think that he just struggled to handle Morris yesterday. He was really bullied, and I thought his passing was a bit wayward yesterday as well. He tends to be quite good on the ball, or we have seen that this season, but he struggled for me yesterday. Porteous, Caity.
Yeah, I'd probably say a 4 as well. I think, again, it's very similar to Pollock. He did a few good blocks. You know, he was getting a bit punchy at times, which was good. There was a big, you know, no nonsense centre back stuff going on with him. So I'd give him a 4, but again, it's very similar to Pollock. You know, it just was not clicking.
Joe, what about you?
Probably give him a 3. I thought he was very average. I thought he looked exposed at times, and yeah, it didn't. It didn't really, like Caity said, it didn't click for him yesterday. Yeah, he gave it all the talk before and left his desire on the coach, didn't he?
He did indeed. I'm going to probably give him a 3 as well. I can't have him being on tied with Matty Pollock. I did think he struggled yesterday at times. So yeah, Porto's going to have 3. Dave has said, we'll come back to Dave in a minute because we'll do Porteous at Tom Cleverley at the end. Just going through all the comments. Lee says all 0. Dave gets 5 though. Felt sorry for him. So we'll get to Dave in a bit. Pidge says Matty Maldini Pollock is the only one I would give a rating. For the rest were a disgrace. I like that. Matty Maldini Pollock. I'm going to use that more often. Right. Ogbonna, Caity.
2, maybe like 1.5. Apparently, again, he was also playing with an injury.
Are we doing 0.5s? Wow.
Well, I don't know.
Can't just pick 1 or 2. You got to do a 0.5.
Okay, no, he can have a 2. He can have a 2. Apparently, he was playing through an injury as well. I felt like he was he was jogging a lot, not a lot of urgency. And then for him to just walk off the pitch when he was injured, I mean, God knows what even happened with that. But yeah, 2 is generous.
Joe Ogbonna?
0 for me. Worst game in a Watford shirt so far. Thought he's Mr. Reliable so far since he's come in, but I thought he was poor from start to finish yesterday. He looked totally off the pace, totally out of it. Shouldn't have started. And yeah, again, if he's playing with an injury, it's no fault of his own. He was picked and he was there, but he just couldn't handle it. And when you've got strikers like Adebayo and Morris that you're up against that have been, I'd actually say, go as far as saying actually been pretty good in the Premier League last season. You've got to play someone who's fully fit, and to put him in like that and throw him under the bus. Sorry, but yeah, it is a 0. But I hope he comes back, fighting fit whenever that'll be in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, 0 from me.
See, this was probably the most disappointing performance for me yesterday from a Watford player. I was so disappointed with him. I was expecting much more, especially his experience, how he reads a game. I thought he was woeful. I really did. That's by far, like you said, the worst performance we've seen of him in a Watford shirt. I know he's not had many, but for games he has played in, he's looked like a Rolls Royce of that defence, and he can manage the game so well. But yesterday, he was poor. So I'm going to give him a 1. I can't give him a 0 like Daniel Batman. So he's got a 1 for me. Ken Sema, Katie?
1. I mean, most of those sort of midfield players, I would be giving a 1. He did not stand out. I don't even. There's nothing in my brain that really registers him in the game. I don't really remember anything that he did. So yeah, 1. 1 because it's not as bad as Backman, but yeah.
Again, I thought he was awful yesterday. I really did. And it just shows how much we're struggling for a left back at this football club or a left wing back, because Larouci can't do it defensively. Okay, going forward, but you need to do both of them. And it was just awful from Ken. I'm going to probably give him a 1. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, 1 from me. Thought he was poor. Just thought he was poor, really, from start to finish. Didn't really do the things that we know he can do on the left-hand side. Didn't really get a decent ball in the box yesterday, and yeah, poor.
Yeah. Pidge says, love King Ken, but a 1 from me. He's finished, great guy, but can't see any future for him apart from being a sub. And it goes back to, like, we've had this discussion probably the last 3 years, saying that Ken Sema shouldn't really be starting games for Watford, and yet we're 2024 and Ken Sema still starting games for Watford Football Club. It's just poor that it's not being addressed. Katie, what about Tom Dele-Bashiru?
Probably give him like a 3. I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch. I think he didn't have a lot of space, didn't have a lot of freedom. I think he was trying his best, but again, someone else said it, but I'm very concerned about all this tape on his leg. I feel like he might be playing through an injury too. I noticed it in the last game as well, that he's like not really committing to stuff, not running around as much. And it's like, if you're injured, just be injured and rest, recover, get through it. You don't have to keep playing. But again, that's not on him. It's a management thing. And what James is saying, he's just said, let down by his partner in Sissoko 100%. I feel like that partnership, we really praised it in the beginning, and now I feel like it's really not clicking and not working for them.
No, I agree. It's difficult in a 2-man midfield when there's only one midfielder. Because Sissoko, I don't think he could have been called a footballer yesterday, especially not a captain. And I felt hard for Tom yesterday. I thought he tried. He really did. But he was receiving balls in difficult positions, and when he was receiving the balls, he had 3 or 4 Luton players snapping at his heels, and he managed to get away from him a couple of times on the 180, just like we watched him at Vicarage Road, where he drops a shoulder and lets the ball run across him, and he can run away with the ball. But he struggled yesterday, and that's down to his midfield partner not helping him out yesterday. And you could maybe say that Kiembe and Chak maybe weren't helping him out as much as well. So yeah, I'll go for like a 3 or a 4 for Tom Delly yesterday. Yeah, I'll give him a 3. I'll join you on that one, Caity. Joe?
Yeah, I was probably a little bit critical of him earlier on, to be fair. But yeah, I think you're probably right. He did try more than anyone yesterday in the starting 11. So yeah, I'd probably give him a 3 or a 4. It's just worth pointing out, and I did say this after he walked out from the Sunderland game a few weeks ago, that he was heavily bandaged up coming out of that game. He couldn't bend his leg. He was walking straight legged up. Well, what is it, Sir Elton John Way or whatever it's called now? He was struggling to walk and was barely moving that leg. And I thought he would not be playing the following week, but yet he's starting again. So I'm going to imagine that he's probably still feeling the effects of whatever he did. He said he twisted his knee and that he was struggling then. So, it's like, come on, if the geezer needs a rest, give him a rest. And he got pulled off both of the League Cup games injured as well, didn't he? So we clearly know he's picked up a couple of injuries this season. So give the guy a rest. I know he's one of our best midfielders, but if someone needs a rest, just take him out of the team. That's what losers there for. Just give someone else a go. So yeah, I've probably a little bit critical of him earlier because Sissoko was the worst out of the two of them. But yeah, I'll give Dele Bashiru a 3.
Okay, Moussa Sissoko, Caity.
0. No comment. 0. I mean, he's been 0 for a long time. He's not. Okay, 0 might be harsh because I was actually some moments where I thought, okay, yeah, he's putting in some good tackles and stuff, but he's not giving captain. Captain should be like the Troy Deeney, shout, punch, get in people's faces. And he just doesn't do that. And I feel like he is just jogging all the time. Why are you never actually running? You're just jogging. And he just, honestly, it's so disappointing because we really raved about him in the beginning of the season, and I feel like he's really fallen off a bit. But that might be because the partnership's not working, or he needs a break, or he needs a rest. But yeah, I mean, yesterday it was definitely a 0 for him.
0 for me, especially with him being captain. He didn't show no leadership yesterday, in a local derby. That's inexcusable. And for me, he's not been good enough for a while. Start of the season when we signed him, I said in a WhatsApp group saying I don't know how he gets into the team ahead of Tom Dele Bashiru and Loser. Obviously, Loser's not getting into the team now, but yesterday's performance, Joe, just reminded me of the terrible performances we had in the Premier League when Sissoko was captain and there was no leadership. It just mirrored that, and I was having nightmares about it. Did that remind you about that terrible season in the Prem under Sissoko?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yesterday was just crying out for someone like a Deeney to be on the pitch and just, that first goal goes in, just get the players together and just say, look, lads, come on, this is a derby. Because we needed someone that was going to go and put their arm around the players yesterday. And you know what? I'd have actually even had go. I know Sissoko starts as Sissoko's captain, but Matty Pollock yesterday could have quite easily been captain yesterday, and he's shown that he can be a leader in game. I can't remember what game it was. He captained now. Was it the League Cup game against Plymouth?
MK Dons, I think.
Oh, MK Dons. Sorry. So he's shown that he can do it. We've seen. I said this all through pre-season as well. I was watching Matty Pollock, and when Pollock was starting games, he was the one that was shouting when he was the one standing at the back, like he was telling Porteous where to go. He was being the leader and speaking to the other players and telling them where to go and what to do. So he's more than capable for me. If Sissoko's going to play like that and act the way he did and not actually communicate with the players when we need someone to be talking to him yesterday, then I would rather him not be captain and give him a run out the team, bring Loser in, like you say. I think Loser's more than capable. He can offer more from set pieces as well. He's more than capable of doing that. And he's good on the ball. We've seen what he can do in games that he's played this season. So, yeah, Sissoko's a 0 for me. Yes, it did give me nightmares from what it was like in the Premier League season. And no, I don't want to see it again this season.
Is it fat 0 for you then, Joe?
Yeah, it's a 0 for me.
Yeah. Georgie's tracked with Caity even. Chapadassi?
Maybe a 4. I feel like he was the only one really trying to make stuff happen. But again, I feel like I don't want to. The whole team, you sort of lose as a team, and there was no one who I was genuinely thinking was really, really driving us forward in a one-man team. I think there were some moments of him where he was, trying to get that thing, trying to get it going. Some good free kicks that he took, but it's just sort of like that selfish nature that he had. That was a bit like, like stop doing that. Yeah, he gets a 4 from me because I feel like he wasn't the worst player on the pitch.
Joe?
2 from me. I didn't think he was very good yesterday. I know Kate said he tried, but I don't think he tried hard enough. You could see the mentality wasn't there for me yesterday. There was that shot that he had towards the end of the first half where it went over, and he kind of just, his body language just said to me, he was like, I couldn't give a shit where that went. It wasn't a Georgie performance for me yesterday. So yeah, it's a 2 from me.
Oh, I'm going to go for a 4 for Dave yesterday, Chapadassi. I thought he was probably one of our better players yesterday. I thought he tried to make things happen. He had that shot in that first couple of minutes. Obviously, he had that shot in the second half. But I thought he was the only one driving forward at times. He was the only one getting us up the pitch. And he couldn't do it on his own. And we just didn't have that help for him yesterday. So Georgie would get 4 from me. Kiembe, Caity?
0. Again, non-existent, did nothing. What's the point in even being there?
Yeah, what's the point of even talking about him? 0 for me. Joe?
Yeah, 0 for me as well.
Speaks volumes, doesn't it? Oh, Caity, next one. This should be an easy one. He completed 1 pass in the whole game, and that was from kickoff. Bakun Bio.
Now he actually is going to get minus. He's going to get -1 because he was so bad, so bad. How do you not even manage 1 pass? Yeah, I don't even want to rate him because it's so bad. But yeah, -1.
Unrated. Joe?
I actually think Casey's been quite generous there. I'm actually going -5. I'm literally going mine. I'm going -5. I think that stat about him having the 1 completed pass and that's from centre is absolutely diabolical from a centre forward in a derby match. Like, could you imagine if Gabriel Jesus or did that against Spurs, or Rashford did that against Man City, or Haaland did that against Man City? Just wouldn't happen. Like, it just doesn't happen in derbies. They literally, you at least see them trying. I've seen those players try in big games this season. I know they're Premier League players. Well, I'm sorry, Bio said at the beginning of the season, the reason he's gone back to Udinese is for his quest for Champions League football. Well, the only Champions League football I see that geezer playing is for a Slovakian team in the 4th qualifying round and getting heavily beaten because he's not put the ball in the net there either. Because the geezer's absolutely fucking useless.
Wow.
I hope he watches this.
James from Watford says -100 for Vacuum Bio. Pidge says, great pass at kickoff, by the way. Jess says, vacuum bio man of a match from a Luton perspective, of course. Yeah, okay. So, but Voices of Vic player ratings then. Overall, we have gone for Daniel Batman, 0. Ryan Andrews, 1. Matty Pollock, 3. Ryan Porteous, 3. Ogbonna, 1. Sema, 1. Tom Deli Bashiru, 3. Sissoko, 0. Chatvadasi, 4. Kiembe, 0. Bio, -5. I quite
We should
enjoyed
post
that.
these.
We can post it, yeah. We can post them. I'll send them across to you, and we'll get it out this evening. Pidgeys also says Stevie Wonder would have been more of a threat up front than Bio. Yeah, I think he would have put himself about a bit more, wouldn't he? Yeah, at least he would have barged into people, wouldn't he? So, put himself about. Just one of the worst performances from a number 9 striker yesterday with vacuum Bio. Don't like singling people out, but we're quick enough to give people credit, so we need to be equally the same when people deserve criticism. And these players that played in the yellow shirt yesterday were absolutely woeful, and it's been difficult watching Luton celebrate and read all the comments about it afterwards and trying to digest a Derby Day defeat, because we was all looking forward to it. I don't think anyone was overconfident on a Watford side. I don't think supporters thought it was going to be an easy victory, and it was anything but yesterday. Our away form is atrocious, and that's what needs to change. Home, I think you could back us against anyone in this league at home, and we've seen it by beating the likes of like Sunderland and Middlesbrough at home, especially coming from behind as well. Great mentality, but away from home yesterday, mentality was shit, absolutely shocking. And it's an easy game up next, as James from What Quaid said earlier. Don't worry, guys. It's only Leeds away next Tuesday night, away at Ellen Road. It's going to be awful. I think I'm just going to watch something else. Maybe watch Strictly or something on repeat. That'll be better,
Bake Off.
surely. What's that?
Bake Off is on.
Bake Off. When is that? Tuesday night Bake Off.
8 p.m. Channel 4.
Perfect. There we
I'll
go.
be there.
Everyone.
That's where you'll find me.
Bake
That's
Off.
where you'll
Yeah.
find me.
We will all be there. Don't worry about the Leeds United game. We will all be watching Bake Off, and we'll be back Wednesday night for a review of the Bake Off Tuesday night special. Yeah, no, appreciate everyone.
We forgot to rate Cleverly, by the way.
We'll do it very quick because I know how long this one's been. Cleverly rating out of 10 for me is fat 0. Massive failure.
0.
Yesterday.
0 for me.
Yeah, sorry, Clevs. Got to improve on that. But yeah, must say thank you everyone for watching tonight. Really do appreciate it. Numbers have been fantastic. Great interaction as well. Everyone's been in top form with all their comments tonight. Jess says that she's going to watch the Bake Off too as well. Let's just start a prediction. Just boycott the Watford away games and we'll watch the Bake Off instead. We'll probably be back during the week for a review of the Leeds United game or Bake Off, whatever we decide to do, and we'll be back soon. We'll be back this week at some point. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 600 before Christmas. I think we're 20 off. So if you're new to the Voice of the Vic and you're watching right now, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you soon. Take care. Come on, you horns.